What's up, family? It's great to have this opportunity to share a little bit about where I'm at, and the theme of choice today is consequences. So I am going through a phase of seeing things I did not see before, seeing things about myself, behaviors, tendencies, desires that I haven't seen before, and also going through a period or a cycle, a phase of facing consequences of actions. And it's funny because the word consequences to me generally has a negative connotation. The word consequences, I guess, whatever, through school or the external environment in general growing up, I came to believe that a consequence was a bad thing. And in fact, I'll use that word sometimes and mean it to not be a good thing. In fact, last week, I think I was sharing with someone a little bit about what I was facing, and I made the statement, consequences are lame. Today, I reflect on the various consequences I'm currently experiencing as a result of certain actions and choices that I've made over the last few years. In particular, some of the choices I'm facing I've made over the last 2 decades. Other choices are choices that I've made since around the year 2015 that for various reasons are showing up right now. And I tend to focus on facing the choices I've made that have outcomes that aren't making me feel very good and seem to be putting me in a position, playing the victim. And I seem to find myself in a position where I'm having to address certain fears that are arising because of their choices. I'd like to also mention that there are other consequences happening in my life right now, basically outcomes. That's really what consequences are at the end of the day. They're outcomes, right? I mean, they're just events that happen as a result of the choices I make, right? So there are these other consequences, outcomes happening in my life that are a result of choices I've made that I find incredibly nourishing and fulfilling and supportive. I haven't ever felt the level of contentment, peace, comfort, and love that I currently feel. And I'm doing things now with my life and with my time that I didn't have I had the desire at some level to do, but I didn't have the energy, or I didn't think I was ready, or I didn't think I was capable, and I now do. And so I'm experiencing consequences that I find pleasing, and I'm also experiencing consequences that are not so pleasing. But they're all my consequences. And the fears that are surfacing as a result of the consequences that are not so pleasing are calls to act. So I have a choice. I can look at the consequences that are not so pleasing, and I can say that I can listen to that voice. I've talked about having two voices. I have two voices. I have a voice that's encouraging, and I have a voice that's discouraging. And the voice that's discouraging says, you are not to be trusted. You make choices that are not good for you, and you make choices that lead to these outcomes that are uncomfortable. The funny part about that voice that says those things and is not encouraging is the very same voice that drives me to make choices that lead to perhaps some level of instant gratification, but they end up being the unhealthiest choices. So the voice that encourages says, you made that choice. Own that you made that choice. Recognize that this is the outcome of that choice. and recognize that you are not alone, and recognize that you have the power and you have the capability to move through the consequences of this choice, to make amends if needed, to start anew, to renew, to reset, to refresh. And I am most grateful for that. I am most grateful for my ability to today to face the choices that I've made, to recognize both consequences that are pleasing and consequences that are not pleasing, and recognize both types of consequences as beneficial to me and supportive of me along my path. So thank you so much for taking a few minutes to listen to this share today. And I have a seminar coming up on October 20th. Be on the lookout for some more information about that. Until then, I love you all.